Debt doesn't arrive all at once, it grows quietly, one small choice at a time. Here's a story that reveals why. Every village believed the old well had no end. It had survived generations of scorching summers and heavy rains. But one morning, a single bucket came up empty, marking the end of an illusion. Among the villagers lived a cheerful farmer named Arjun. He worked hard, laughed easily, and dreamt of a life better than his parents. Whenever he wanted something, a new cart, better clothes, or grand celebrations, he found a way to get it. Tomorrow always felt very far away. Merchants lent him grain and neighbors loaned him money, always with the same promise: pay me after the harvest. It sounded so easy. Every morning, Arjun lowered his bucket into the well and watched the cool water rise. The well never complained, and each bucket made him believe there would always be another. An old man named Govindan watched from the banyan tree. He sat there silently, observing the rhythm of the village, seeing what others chose to ignore. One evening, Govindan called Arjun over. "Son," he asked, "do you know how deep this well truly is?" Arjun just smiled, "Deep enough that no one has ever reached the bottom." Govindan nodded, saying every generation had believed that. But Arjun walked away, thinking that worry was only for the old. He felt life was for enjoying opportunities. Months passed. Another purchase, another promise. Whenever someone reminded him about payment, he simply smiled and said, "After the next harvest." The promises piled up quietly. Unlike sacks of grain, they couldn't be seen. Unlike weeds, they didn't grow overnight. They simply waited. Then, the rains failed. The fields turned brown, and the crops struggled beneath the blazing sun. Farmers gathered around the well more often than ever before. Every bucket mattered now. The anxiety in the village grew as the water level dropped, yet Arjun still believed his own harvest would save him. One morning, Arjun lowered his rope. The bucket struck mud. He tried again. Nothing. The endless well had finally reached its bottom. The village rushed toward the well. Faces filled with disbelief as every bucket returned almost dry. Families began rationing every drop. That was when the merchants arrived. They wanted payment, grain, and money. Every promise Arjun had postponed arrived at once. Arjun pleaded, "My harvest has failed." The merchant sighed, "I believed your future harvest would fill today's empty basket. Now both are empty." For the first time, Arjun understood that delaying a problem didn't make it disappear. It only allowed many small problems to grow into one impossible burden. Govindan joined him at sunset. Every bucket removes a little. The emptiness begins long before anyone notices, the old man said softly. It's the same with promises, Govindan continued. Every borrowed coin, every excuse feels small. But one day they all asked to be repaid at the same time. That year became the hardest of his life. He sold the fancy cart and postponed his celebrations. He worked longer than ever to repay what he owed. The journey was painful, but each payment lifted a little weight from his shoulders. Slowly, the cloud of debt began to clear. Years later, when the rains returned, Arjun changed his life. He stopped borrowing for things he only wanted. He saved before spending and repaired instead of replacing. Every morning, before drawing water, Arjun paused. He remembered that even the deepest well has limits, and debt works the same way. Borrowing can solve today's thirst, but every loan removes something from tomorrow. The wisest don't wait for the well to run dry before changing. The safest future isn't built by borrowing more water. It's built by protecting the well before anyone notices it's getting empty. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Rajkor Wealth for more timeless stories that teach powerful money lessons.